Welcome to another episode of the AniMoguls. I'm Megabucks.
And I'm Tycoon.
Today on the AniMoguls, we're going to be continuing our discussion of Disney babies from part 1. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But in the meantime, Tycoon, let's start with Simba from The Lion King.
I've been thinking about Simba too, and how they didn't really need to show him as a kid.
Yeah, when I first saw The Lion King, I thought young Simba was an idiot. When I saw it again a few years later, that's when it hit me. Simba wasn't stupid, he was just too young. I'd pegged him at about 5 years old at the beginning of the movie. No wonder he couldn't understand what was going on around him. They should have made him a little bit older, maybe equivalent to a 10-year-old human. That way, Scar could still take advantage of Simba's youth and inexperience without Simba coming across as a moron.
Yeah, and he doesn't even go back to find his mom. That's always bothered me, because when you're a kid and something goes wrong, you run straight to mom. But I guess Simba had survivor's guilt.
It's like, shame on you if you fool me once. Shame on me if you fool me twice. And that's what happened to Mufasa. He got fooled twice, fell off the cliff, and died. That's my problem with The Lion King. Mufasa knew Scar wanted the throne. He knew Simba was young and impressionable. Mufasa should have gotten rid of Scar after the incident where Scar convinces Simba to go to the Forbidden Elephant Graveyard.
The big fight scene between Simba and Scar at the end was pretty anticlimactic, because we all knew Simba would beat Scar. The directors made it pretty clear that Scar was no physical threat. He was weak and frail and anorexic, for crying out loud. Simba practically won by default. He's not like Shang in Mulan, where he's been in the game and learning to fight. He's been lying around Hakuna Matata style with Timon and Pumbaa all these years.
Yeah, it never made sense to me how Simba grew up big and strong like Mufasa. If he'd led this tough life, having to fight for every scrap of food, then it would have made sense. Instead, we see Timon and Pumbaa hanging out, teaching Simba to eat bugs and not to hunt other animals for meat. How he grew so huge when he was eating vegan is beyond me.
They seem to have plenty of food where Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba live. And yet, 5 kilometers away there's a drought. That's cartoon geography for you.
Another thing I don't understand is how Simba coming back correlates to green grass growing everywhere overnight.
Yeah, it's not like Simba's this great micromanager that he could have said, here's the action plan. Here's how we're gonna come out of the recession. In the end, he just showed up and they worship the ground he walks on. He's basically riding on the coattails of his dad.
That's the monarchy for you. But to make another analogy, Scar was like George W. Bush, where he didn't regulate the mortgage crisis. And then Simba was brought in for the bailout.
Simba was the Obama. But the lionesses won't always be happy with him, because they'll only learn the true cost of the bailouts later. They're supporting failing companies, and the Pride Lands are no different. They're beyond repair. And the lionesses, they need to accept that and move on.
Patriotism is overrated. It's great that they love Pride Rock, but it's a big world. It's time for the lions to see what else is out there. In the end, none of it's gonna matter anyway because the humans are gonna come and build condos on your land. My advice, get out while you can.
And they need to exercise greater control over their land. Otherwise, they'll end up in a zoo, or worse, a circus. I'm looking at you, Madagascar. You know who was a cute baby though? Dumbo. Those people were crazy for making fun of his big ears. Yeah, they were a little larger than life, but that just adds to his charm.
See, Dumbo's the opposite of Simba, where you really feel for him. It's weird how Simba suffered so much, and yet I don't sympathize with him at all. And that's less the fault of Simba and more the fault of whoever the hell was responsible for the story.
With Dumbo, you really felt the sympathy because he gets taken away from his mom. And his mom is his one and only supporter. He has no one else until Timothy the Mouse comes along.
See, and Dumbo is not this reckless rebel. He's not trying to impress his girlfriend, like Simba is. If anything, Dumbo's trying hard to fit in and be a good elephant. And in spite of that, everyone keeps picking on him. Humans, other elephants, everyone. Dumbo's the underdog.
And because Dumbo has no parental guidance, he gets led astray. I mean, Timothy the Mouse gets Dumbo drunk when Dumbo is clearly underage. Then they have a night of debauchery and wild partying. I don't think this was the kind of life Dumbo's mother envisioned for him.
That's true. If Dumbo's life story was translated into a modern-day retelling, it would be the story of one of the Victoria's Secret angels. Because when they were growing up, people would say things like, "Whoa, you're way too tall. You're a girl. You're a really tall girl. Is that even normal? You look like a pair of chopsticks with a face attached." But then they grew up to be hot, and now everybody wants to be them. It's the same with Dumbo. When he was little, everyone made fun of his big ears, but now he can fly and everyone's jelly.
Exactly! Now Dumbo's gonna be the head of the pack, or the leader of the herd, if you want to get technical.
Now, we could discuss Bambi, but really, he looks the same. They just made him a little bit bigger.
Definitely, it was so predictable that Bambi's mother was shot, since Disney loves killing off the protagonist's mothers.
I want a story where the child dies and the parents have to deal with the aftermath.
Yeah, why not have a story that focuses on the parents? Ain't that something?
It would be something, but it's not gonna happen. I mean, we all know that society's obsessed with youth.
Yeah, we saw Bolt as a puppy too.
He was cute, but again, they basically opened the model of adult Bolt in Maya, scaled it down a few inches, and boom, you have Bolt as a puppy. No creativity required.
Lady from Lady and the Tramp was a sad case, because she got replaced by a human baby. This whole time, Lady thought she was their baby, but then it turned out that she wasn't. She wasn't even a human. She had a Buzz Lightyear moment when she realized she was a dog. At least they didn't take her back to the pound.
Baby Hercules was pretty adorable. And the cool thing is that the movie showed his sidekick Pegasus as a baby too. They're lifelong besties.
Yeah, they grew up together. They're childhood friends. They're tight. No wonder Pegasus gets upset when Herc replaces him with Meg. It used to be Pegasus and Herc all day, every day. And now there's Meg and Phil and all of Herc's adoring fans. Pegasus has to share Herc with the world and he doesn't like it. I mean, Pegasus could have made friends too. He could have hit on some nymphs, but he didn't.
Well, let's quickly wrap up with Baby Melody, although the Little Mermaid sequels are non-canon in my book.
To me, it looks like Aladdin could be the father. I mean, the thick black eyebrows, the big fluffy hair. I know Eric has that too, but if Ariel had rescued Aladdin instead of Eric, you never know. That baby could have been theirs. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of another episode of the AniMoguls. Stay tuned for our next video where we discuss Disney horses. Until next time, thanks for watching!